Without further ado, let's jump into game number 1 on Cloud Kingdom between Slayers Miya and Caliber Light.
Top right-hand position, we have the pink Protoss. It is Caliber Light. He's spawning over here on Cloud Kingdom. Bottom left, we have not Alicia. You see short stuff, but it is in fact Miya.
Just borrowing his account.
Yeah.
Miya's been playing in a lot of the Korean weekly clubs. You can see him back in the day. I'm not sure if he still plays now, but I know he tried out a lot for the ESV Korean weeklies. He played in KSL. He played in the eSports weekly match, the EWM, and back in the day, and I had the opportunity of catching him back there. And Miya has a very distinct aggressive style back then. Back when Roaches were still getting figured out on how aggressive could you be. Like Losira was trying to push out Roach aggression. Nesty was trying to push like Hydra Ling aggression. All these Zergs were trying to figure out aggression. Miya was at the forefront really trying to be hyper aggressive. But you know what? That was 7-8 months ago, and Zergs have evolved a lot.
But still, what it says, it says, Caliber, you better be experienced. You better be on your toes.
Yeah.
Because at any time, he's in a situation where roaches are being jammed down his throat. And if he doesn't know the right build, if he doesn't know the right timings, he will be susceptible. He will die to something like that. Caliber, of course, foreigners, I should say, are the ones that are really scrutinized for their lack of understanding, the lack of experience, and understanding how to appropriately deal with all these different pushes. So we're gonna definitely check out Caliber and see if he has what it takes.
Yeah, you know, Caliber, of course, plays for Team Light Esports, one of the teams that don't necessarily get a lot of attention, but they have some pretty solid players. They recently picked up Sun, right? M18M from a Kespa team, so they do have some pretty legitimate players, and they did help Golden a lot elevate his play. And so Caliber practices with these kinds of players. You can definitely count on him training very, very hard. Actually, some of the Light players stopped by the NASL office. We had the opportunity of like watching them play and practice. And Caliber, he's really good, but a lot of people don't know about him, so definitely keep your eye out for this young guy.
Yeah, he is an all-around very standard player. I want to mention that. Like, he just goes for the absolute center. He mixes in sometimes, but really he likes to go to that end game and just outplay you. That is really tough to do against any Korean player, mind you. So we'll see if he has what it takes to beat his opponent. You know, it's so unfortunate that Light lost Golden, because continuously over and over, even through the StarCraft Brood War era. What was I saying now? It's so hot in here. Oh, Light got a lot of their players poached. Always. Like that was what Light was known for. Just bringing these up-and-comers to Light, no pun intended.
Yeah.
And then being poached. And that happened with so many people. Chef, Aerials, Firebat Hero.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Firebat Hero was poached. That's ruined.
So many players, let me tell you.
Oh, yeah, that definitely stings, of course, for any team that is focused on growth, Andre. But also what hurts is Zerglings in your main. This is going to be very annoying. And 4 is enough to really bother you to the point where, you know, you can lose some probes. You're going to lose a lot of mining time. You can see Caliber immediately trying to get a good surround now. You can always micro this really well and lose nothing, but you can see the disruption in the mining time is very significant at this point.
In the meantime, there is some cannon rushing going on.
Oh,
and
yes.
It looks like, oh my gosh, he will not actually see this. So if this cannon gets up, that'll be a huge advantage, obviously, for Caliber, but it's only one single cannon. That is actually a problem. It needs to be a little bit more, because you can easily just pull drones, Zerglings, etc., and you're fine.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you can have a good count, the Queen can really help you. A second cannon dropping as well. The Zerglings also being dealt with in the Zelt in the main base, so Caliber's dealing with this pretty nicely, although, again, he has to be very, very cautious, because oh, the Queen drops. Oh my goodness. That's actually really, really good for Caliber.
Oh yeah. And 2 cannons now. This one Queen is able to range the photon cannon, but those Zerglings still chugging away. We're able to get a couple of kills, actually just 1 so far, so really not a worthwhile investment.
Very nice tuck away, protecting the pylon as well. Now Caliber is able to really take out this hatchery, and that is going to be very bad. I mean, because Miya hasn't even really tried to establish his base at the 3rd, so this is pretty much half his economy at this point. I mean, drones that pop out immediately die as well, and there's no way to really break Caliber because he does have a couple Zealots actually out on the map, but it's too busy trying to deal with the Zerglings in the main. Mia's done a good job keeping them alive, but has to be really careful not to let these Zerglings come in either.
I think he will, though. I mean, there's no real indicator to let him know that something like this is coming up. Although he does have a probe coming out at the perfect time. Now, Miya is waiting for metabolic boost to kick in, but this should be an indicator. It's like, oh no, I have to be careful. From here, Roach Warren is actually getting started, so we might see Roach pressure as well. But I think, yes, Caliber is doing it right. He should expect some sort of Baneling bust from here. You see so many Zerglings, and it's like, whoa, I need to be careful. Metabolic boost could be, you know, incoming, of course. Banelings on the way normally after that. Instead, it's going to be Roach Warren. So it's kind of like mind gaming the mind game. But it's still a position where Caliber is super far ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that the hatchery's not even done, and we're almost 8 minutes into the game, is the fact that Caliber will be able to have that much of a large economic advantage. He's harvesting from both of his mineral patches very comfortably, now getting +1 as well. Cybernetics Core will finish. Now, he can try to push Warpgate as fast as he can, because even though Caliber doesn't necessarily have that strong of a presence on the map, he always has these cannons and the 2 pylons, so he can really warp in there, pressure from both spots, force you the ramp while attacking the 3rd of Zerg. Well, actually, at this point, it's only the natural expansion. So this puts me in a very tough position. And Caliber, I mean, how far he is ahead is I mean, Miya can't even see him. That's the distance between right now the 2 players.
Caliber, though, he has gone Stargate play, which is important to mention. This Stargate play is interesting. Obviously, if you can get Void Rays out in time for these Roaches that are inbound, he will be in a great position. But I think Miya is just going to actually cancel his attack and just drone up from here. I think that's correct. Oh, he's going to take out these cannons. Okay, that's completely fine. Great micro... Oh, never mind. He lost 2 units.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he's losing these units. But you know what? Prioritizing these cannons is very, very important. Just making enough. And also kind of scares Protoss a little bit, because he says, well, he made this many units. You know, is he going to follow with more Roachling aggression? You can see Caliber does have a Stargate already prepared, though, trying to chrono out his Void Ray as fast as possible. But nonetheless, I mean, everything still is an initiative of Caliber, and as long as he really keeps his gas-heavy units alive, which he really should be able to, he's in good shape.
He's in beautiful shape. I love this. That 1 pylon in the top left-hand corner of Miya's base was actually able to see the hatchery going down. That tells Caliber exactly what you were talking about. He has initiative. He has the ability to do whatever he wants to, because theoretically, Miya should be the one that is super defensive. The Void Ray is going to show itself right now on this 1 Overlord. That should be a key to say, I need to not attack if I'm Miya.
Yeah, I mean, his Zerg, he made a huge batch of Zerglings, but he has real no options to be aggressive. His Roaches get force field in, very, very nice as well. That's actually very, very nice. The fact is those Roaches can't hit anything other than that pylon, and so that's, again, just more larva and gas that could invested elsewhere in terms of developing the tech. And the supply count is just very, very rough right now for Miya, because, I mean, at this point in the game, 11, 12 minutes, you want to be at least well into the triple digits, and he's barely scraping the 60s.
Yeah. That should be all drones, actually.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not. Only 50 of those are going to be drones. 2 Void Rays out now on the field. You know, it's just such a difficult position for me to be in, because when your Protoss opponent has the 3rd this early and you're just about to establish it, income tab shows more harvesters for the Protoss over the Zerg. I mean, Caliber is playing this out beautifully. Yeah. And he really needs to blunder with his army if, you know, he wants, or excuse me, if Miya wants a chance back into the game. Look, again, putting up a wall. I like this wall. It actually makes it so difficult for Zerg to actually approach this. Obviously, if Colossus show up, then it's unapproachable. And it makes it only one direction where Zerg can actually push into this 3rd.
Yeah, and it's really clever because Caliber is trying to expand and heavily tech with upgrades at this point. You can't really afford to make too many units just because of the raw amount of minerals it costs, and so Caliber decides just instead go for a defensive position and basically make himself unbreakable. And even though he doesn't have that many units out, he only has a couple of sentries, a stalker, and a few zealots. The fact is, there's nothing really that Miya can do about it, and so Miya is just forced to drone.
And what's great about this, Caliber is actually patrolling all around the place with these Void Rays, making sure there's no sneaky 4th base. That's precisely what you need to do in these positions, because you don't want to be like, okay, well, I'm just going to get everything and develop faster than my opponent. All of a sudden, you're witnessing, you know, your opponent actually out-macroing you because there's some sort of proxy base. That's the worst position to be in. So making sure that no proxy expansions actually pop up is so important to make sure that you can develop faster than your opponent. And you know you can develop faster than your opponent.
You see that Caliber is going for a Robotics Bay, but this is very interesting. He goes directly for a Templar Archives as well. And, you know, we usually see them try to see Protoss really go for that 3-base, 15-minute, you know, huge, like 150 supply Protoss push with, like, a lot of Colossus. But now he's incorporating High Templars as well. Maybe even just go straight for Archons. Well, what do you think about this choice from Caliber?
It's okay. I wouldn't prefer it, honestly. I would actually say just stick with Colossus, Stalker, Sentry, Zealot. Knowing that your opponent has kind of not had the 6 gas for so long, you really can't get that big of a Corruptor count. If you want that big of a Corruptor count, you're sacrificing on your ground. Because of that, your Gateway unit should be able to take over directly after that big engagement. Right. So I would actually say just concentrate on getting that very well-developed army, and at 17 minutes, you should have some sort of timing.
Yeah, and I guess it could be just the fact that Caliber is responding to the mass amount of Lings, and he's really afraid of a huge Muta Ling play, I guess. And Mutas are a great way to try to get back into the game, but again, Mutas on this map is a little bit harder as well because of the distance between the main and the third is very, very tight. You can kind of trap Mutas easily, so I guess Caliber's just trying to take it as safe as possible, but again, that's pretty much been his MO since the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting a little bit of everything, which is fine, don't get me wrong. He's developing faster than his opponent, so technically he still retains that advantage. So there's nothing wrong with it. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I criticize it, but it's still fine. He's finally looking like he wants to push out right now. The High Templar is obviously going to help out a little bit with the Infestors, with the feedback. But still, I don't see a foreseeable way for Miya to actually do anything about this. I mean, this is so scary.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess since he does have his Storm, doesn't necessarily have to get that many Colossus, and Caliber's going to push very methodically. He did a great job using those Voids, controlling creep as well during this entire time, so Miya doesn't have that much of map presence, can't set up great flanks. You can see that a lot of Roaches and Corruptors are in production, but again, there's not that many Colossus, so every Corruptor is a very valuable amount of gas and larva. You can see that the Zerglings are trying to cut off reinforcements, but Caliber's pushing closer and closer to the 4th base, and the Infestors are going to try to get in for a fungal, and it does land on top of them, but there's a lot of damage being dealt here. The Storm on the Roaches as well. I mean, the blink forward from Caliber is going to take out everything, and there's nothing that Zerg can do about it.
4th base going down here is very detrimental in order to actually defend against this incoming push. I like the Zerglings out in the field, trying to take out any of the pylons behind this, but there's just not enough stuff here. And yes, look at the supplies, 174 to 178, but 28 Zerglings, 40 Zerglings on the way. Ooh. Zerglings are not good units in this position. You don't actually defend with Zerglings. You attack, you counterattack with Zerglings. You don't actually try to deal with, you know, Colossus in this position with Zerglings.
Yeah, I mean, with such a huge ball of Stalkers, the Zerglings will never truly be able to chew it. Caliber is maxed, and now he also has a couple High Templar pushing for support in case he ever needs the feedbacks, but look at the amount of Stalkers he has. I mean, he's going to storm on the Roaches as well. It doesn't even matter that +3 hasn't finished. There's just way too much Protoss and not enough Zerg. The Corruptors deal with the Colossus, really. Or, I mean, will it? I mean, the Stalkers blink forward. The Infestors have nothing really to keep the army in place. There's no follow-up, and Caliber takes out this 3rd, then Miya really has nothing left. His main's almost mined out. He really has no production capability, and the push here is just way too much damage. The lock-in as well. It's just, there it is, GG.
So, well played by Caliber, but really, I mean, it was the cannon rush. As soon as the cannon rush gets pulled off, I mean, you are super far ahead. Caliber was able to maintain that advantage the whole time around, and that's really the big problem with sending your initial 4 Zerglings out to go deal with, or to try to put on pressure. Really, it didn't kill that many probes. I think it killed 1 probe, baited a couple of Zealots, but in return, you get cannon rushed.
That's not a good trade at all. But you know what? I mean, Miya has now map pick, and he can choose whatever he wants. So we'll see if Caliberlight's able to take out one of the Koreans from Team Slayers. We'll find out after a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. Game number 2 is coming up in just a minute.